Alright guys, here we are to talk about episode 19, season 2 of the Twilight Zone. Alright, so this was the best 1960 had to offer.
This was something else.
So we have an episode here where it's a gentleman, and he's just...
Either Dingle.
He's just riding the center. He is getting punched in the mouth repeatedly. He's kind of
getting bullied and
the
picked
butt
on.
of the world's joke.
Yeah, he's a salesman who sucks at selling. He's the usual, like, downtrodden, shitty, stuttering, like, awful dude.
When in comes in the worst representation of a alien you've ever seen.
Let me just say here. Well, was that Don Rickles or just a fake Don Rickles?
That was Don Rickles.
All right. So Don Rickles is bullying and punching and cigar chomping and shit's happening and the bartender and all this stuff's happening. And I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see, like, what's going to be the thing. Like, what's happening? Is it with those guys? Is this just the intro? Is the bartender involved? What's going to happen with this dude? Something, right? The tables are going to turn. Ooh, I can't wait. What the? It's like the Captain Picard. What is this shit?
And then two aliens with weird little haircuts.
Two guys in, like, a costume being wheeled in on a hand truck or something come in.
Very
with
strange.
Fucking antenna, and like I wrote down my favorite line: "Silence! I am receiving his waves." I was like, "God damn it, guys!"
So they're on
really?
an intergalactic mission to give somebody strength to see how they'll use it.
They're conducting experiments.
And
is very
Mr.
important.
Dingle is the subject of this experiment. He gets the power of Hercules, it seems.
Metrical.
But did you notice the numbers they said? They're like we have given him 6,000% strength or something like that. And I was like, what? 6,000% or whatever the number was. It was something ridiculous.
It was 300 times
300
average
times.
An average human.
So 300 times. Do you know how crazy that strength is?
You'd be able to lift statues above your head.
Way more than that.
Of course. He squandered his gifts.
Because they said that of the average Earth human. So if your average Earth human can lift like 100 pounds, 2 times your average human is 200 pounds. 300 times?
This is important. What's that
Holy shit. That's far too much.
It's a lot of pounds.
He should be destroying everything around him. There should be nothing.
His feet should be leaving craters in the ground. He's so strong.
Kind of.
I don't know.
Well, if you lifted enough weight and your body can support it, the ground wouldn't necessarily be able to support you. So yeah,
no,
you
it's
could
crazy.
do that.
I mean, I won't even go there. I won't even talk about like what should happen when you're on dirt in the statue and your little feet or something. That's like when Superman stops a plane by just touching it and his arms should just go.
I was just
go right through.
Angry about this. You've been to Six Flags, right?
Never.
Okay, so Six Flags is a place. There are Six Flags and an amusement park.
I know all about Six Flags.
So there's a ride called Superman.
And you bring Coke, and then it's free.
It's free.
Okay.
So the Superman ride has a list outside of it of all of Superman's powers. And it's like powers where I'm like, are these canon? What the hell is this? And one of them says like Superman is coated in a force field.
They had to make that up
and that force
later,
field extends to whatever he's touching so that when he picks up a plane by just say the wing while it's going 1,000 miles an hour, it doesn't break because his force field has strengthened the whole thing.
They had to add that
I hate that.
to like appease angry fans. I've heard it called tactile telekinesis or something like that. Like by touching something, he can like do the same thing he can do to himself to it or whatever. Is like the long story short. No, that's a perfect example of like over-explaining stuff and like making things dumb and worse or whatever. Because if there's like a deep explanation, like the nanoparticles do this or whatever, but it's like cool. I go, oh great, I'm glad I'm glad you filled this in because it wasn't making sense before that he could do this but not do that or whatever. But this is just like we made up this superhero back in the day before we even gave a shit about physics or anything like that. It isn't like people didn't know what would happen.
If you were gonna do that and run that explanation, what it should be is like in the modern remake of the movies, there should be Superman caught on film doing something, and some scientist should be debunking it, going like, "No, this is obviously fake. This couldn't happen." Blah blah blah. And then like them doing a thing and like, at Star Labs, we've discovered that he has a very micron thin force field that extends, and then I'd be like, holy shit, that's dope. Like,
so why was it not dope the way you heard it?
Because it's just written on a fucking on a wall, like duh.
No, I think that's how like in some I don't follow the nerdy. I'm not a nerd. Thank you very much. No, I'm sure like in some comic that someone was
most
like,
likely.
How is this
but
possible?
I didn't see that. I see it for the first time in this thing, and I'm like, that seems dumb, not widely available knowledge of craziness. Because some things you're like it's like, the Flash can actually run blah blah. I'm like, oh okay, because I've never had to question that, like how fast you can go. But this type of shit where I'm like, what? That sounds retarded.
No, but these things were all created back during the time this episode took place, when everything was dumb and people not dumb, but just like we didn't really
ignorant.
We didn't need we didn't even think about thinking this through. Like you never know if your thing's going to become, I say underwear official when it's like printed on children's underwear or whatever the fuck, like lunchbox canon.
I think when you say 300 times, that's just to say he's really strong, and no one was thinking, how strong is 300 times that of a normal human?
Exactly.
But it's trumped by the dumb aliens, and then children dressed up like aliens.
Okay,
with human voices,
with like a dubbed-in voice of like their production engineer or something like that. No, and I mean, I love bad things. I don't care if it's good. A lot of these episodes have had things in it. I'm never like, I don't believe that that's an alien. That's just a guy in a suit. Like, I understand that.
This was so cheesy.
This is so over the top cheesy, which must have been intentional, and it was supposed to add something. And I didn't. I was
well,
like,
this is a funny
what's
episode,
happening?
I guess. I guess.
But the implication, right, because you mentioned the children, is that Mr. Dingle is going to be continuously visited by various other species of aliens that will bestow upon him different gifts due to how, like, shitty and, like, inept he is. And, like, is this supposed to be a parallel? Because you know how in life, people that are the worst and are shitty randomly become not the worst and not shitty for a little amount of time. And what if the explanation was this, right? Only that's, like, not how life works at all.
No.
And, like, this
he
makes
goes
no
from the
sense.
strongest man in the world to the smartest man in the world, back to back.
And they'll take that away a little bit later or whatever.
Do you think it's good or bad if you're Mr. Dingle? You're like, all right, I got to experience this awesome thing, or you're like, my whole life, I never get a consistent thing. I can't.
I was
going to
say, like, it's probably better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
You think so?
But at the same time, right, to never know when they're coming or going and to never be able to count on it, it must drive you crazy.
It always reminds me of like when someone like travels through time, like there's a knight all of a sudden in modern day, and we give him a cheeseburger, and then he goes back to his time. I'm like, did we ruin his whole life? Is he now chasing a cheeseburger forever?
He's eating dried mutton with dried fruit, like in like a linen sack, and just eating chunks of this disgusting millet and something other shit. No spices. They weren't invented yet. No sauce.
It's hard.
But like the part 2 of this, right, is that they take it away. And I spent a little while trying to figure out, like, well, what should he have done? Did they want him to better mankind? Did they want him to do better stuff? Like, how did he fail their tests? Because they were like, pathetic, exactly. And like, get out of here or whatever.
Would he got to keep it?
That's what I mean. Like, what did this even mean or do? Like that. The only way to make this like a real Twilight Zone episode is some interesting like miscommunication where he's trying to say, I have these powers, that there's great responsibility, but the aliens have like a different value system, and he's actually doing things that make it fail the test when he's trying to pass the test somehow.
Yeah, like he becomes a superhero, but they want him to rule the world.
Or something, right? Something interesting where it's like, yeah, like evolutionarily he should be ruling the planet now. This is the, he's a worthless species. We've proven it. Something, right? To make it interesting. But here they were just like, yes, and they didn't even hint at like what they wished he would have done, because that's like a heavy topic, I guess. It's hard for them to do in an episode, but I don't know. Fuck.
You think if you were really 300 times stronger, do you think you'd be like bulletproof? Like, because your muscle would be 300 times stronger?
Right? Because is not a lack of strength what causes us to die in the first place? I don't know.
You know what I mean by that,
right?
though?
Yeah, because like depending on how you interpret strength, right? Maybe your bones are too strong to break. Maybe your immune system is so much stronger than any disease or virus that you can't get sick anymore. Like, what does that mean, right? I don't know.
It's a cool thing.
There's so many interesting things that this episode did not
touch
touch on. Yes, exactly. Right.
Like 300 times stronger. Could you just like walk through a building, spin your arms, knock it down on yourself, and just dust yourself off and walk out?
Huh. Yeah, because it kind of implied that he wasn't getting hurt at all. Because like whenever strength is like a superpower, there's always this underlying thing of like, well, I'm really strong, but like in Ghost in the Shell, the original anime, she's like trying to, she has a cybernetic body or whatever, and she's trying to like pull something off, and she's pulling so hard that like things are like popping out of her like fake skin, because it's like breaking her own body to pull it that hard or whatever. So like whenever I see anything about super strength, I'm always like, so I have to assume all these other powers came along with that power. Otherwise, like you can break a rock, but like the skin on your hands is like sloughing off and
when he punches the table, he can still break his hand.
Well, or like right, because then your bones have to be made of something else, right?
Just because you're strong enough to punch through wood doesn't mean the wood's not going to cut your knuckles.
Yeah, and kind of like fuck, right? And even if your bones or like your tendons and all that could be part of strength, like the epidermal layers and the veins and things, like wouldn't it just like crush something inside of you that you need or something?
Wouldn't your skin then just be like caught between the rock you're hitting and the rock that is your muscle?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to say it. And you just be like destroying pieces of yourself. I don't know. So we just have to assume all these things going forward or whatever. And go like
a little bit. I do love when he just like pops rocks like that. I think that's super cool.
Like he's cracking an egg or something like that. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a lot of other stuff because I think this episode is kind of like a nothing episode. Did you enjoy this? How do you feel about this?
It wasn't a chore like some bad ones are, but it wasn't like a good episode. It's a comedy episode almost. Like it's like a joke. There's no real twist. There's no shock and greatness. But it wasn't bad. It had good people in it. I think I would have preferred a different main character. I think it would have been funnier had they gone
with Don Rickles.
Yeah, I think so. I
was joking.
I don't know if he was famous then though. When I saw him, I was like, "Oh, cool!" Because he's a funny guy.
Is it just obviously Don Rickles, or did you look it up? Or
no, it's obviously him.
It seems like it was Don Rickles, but I'm like, when was this filmed? Don Rickles was old when I met him, so I feel like he's been old. So this would fit or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah. I was gonna call that character Don, like Don Rickles, and then just say, well, it'll be a joke if he's not, and if it really was him, it'll just be me saying his name.
Is he still alive?
I think he recently died,
because he was in that Night at the Museum.
He might be one of those celebrities that everyone thinks recently died and is still alive. I refuse to fact check that.
Night at the Museum was actually like 7 years ago now.
Oh no,
or something like that.
We're
so
very
he
old.
could have died
since then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I vaguely recall an announcement of his death, but it's always cool when people pop up in these episodes and you go like, oh shit, it's this guy, all that stuff.
No, but yeah, this was it was decent. It was like a more for children's episode.
Yeah, I was
which
gonna
they
say.
have to cater to every now and again, something that's not going to terrify the little children.
I really like darkness and ugliness.
I do too.
Human nature.
Oh,
and
a
stuff
good episode's
like
a good
that,
episode. I won't say I only like those, but this was not like that peak of Twilight Zone perfection that I'm looking for.
I think that for like a kid though, like aliens visiting and changing your life suddenly and stuff, this could have planted. Could have planted a seed of something. I don't know. That's that two-headed bald.
I laughed
guy.
not for the right reasons.
Yes,
like twice in this episode. Like when they showed the two-headed alien, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? And then when the kids came out, I was like, what?
And they're just wearing like weird boxes on straps or something crazy like that. I liked when he's like spinning Don Rickles over his head and all that shit, all those weird things. This was definitely just a comedy, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm judging it too harshly.
All right, guys. So
it's fine.
That was this episode of The Twilight Zone. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we will see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.